That was episode 7. You win or you die. And we clearly saw why the episode was titled that, other than Cersei's loving advice to Ned. Clearly, she sought to enact said advice by the end of the episode. Tyler, did you feel a little bit justified in thinking Ned was being too nice there at the end of the episode?
Yeah, I think he should. I mean, clearly it's going to backfire from him that he didn't take precautions like he was kind of instructed to.
Do
I don't
you,
know.
do you wish he had taken up Renly's offer and taken his men and seized the queen and Joffrey?
Yeah, especially because Renly just dipped. He
Oh,
was like, "All right, bye."
well, I mean, Renly was basically like, if we don't do so, Cersei's about to kill us both. So if you're
Yeah,
not going to listen, I'm out and I'm not
because
about to die.
literally, he was like, he deserted him. Like, you're on your own. Peace out. I choose my life.
Then clearly that little conversation there with Littlefinger and Ned near the end of the episode did more harm than it did good for Ned Stark's cause. He's
Yeah.
trying to get Littlefinger to bring in those gold cloaks to help him. And Littlefinger brought in the gold cloaks, but they did not quite help Ned in his cause. With those
No,
famous last words, if I warned you not to trust me.
I knew it.
How did you feel about the episode overall, Alyssa?
It's pretty good, despite not having some of my favorite characters. I thought it just seemed like more happened this episode and things like actually progressed rather than just like dragging stuff out. Yeah, I'm glad more people are dying that I don't like, but I'm not glad that Littlefinger's bad. I was really hoping he was gonna be I still like him.
So you're not going to pour one out for Robert tonight, Alyssa?
No.
I will.
How'd you feel about episode 7, Tyler?
Yeah, kind of the same as Alyssa. I thought it was pretty good. It definitely progressed a lot of the storylines to a degree that like kept it really interesting. Even the wall stuff is actually getting some more development that I actually am more invested in as opposed to other episodes. I guess maybe it also is a nice change because we didn't really get much of the wall the last couple episodes. The developments with Robert now that he's dead, I was a little disappointed that we didn't get to actually see it. I did think it was kind of a lame way out that he gets killed by a boar off screen. I figured he was going to have much more of a grandiose exit from the show, not just he gets killed by a boar because he was drunk. I just expected much more out of it, the show, than that. But the siege at the end with the changing of powers, it seems like it's not going very smoothly with Ned and Joffrey and Cersei. Looks like it is quite. I can see why it's called Game of Thrones because it seems like it's going to be quite the game to get on the throne. So we'll see. I knew that Littlefinger was bad. I knew this, not looking up anything, but I just had a big feeling he was a bad guy, and my assumption was proven right at the end of the episode.
Well, this episode we met Tywin Lannister for the first time as he
That was cool too.
aggressively skinned and furred whatever that like caribou, like what I don't know, elk of some
Looked
kind.
like an elk, yeah.
As he was like
I don't know.
scolding Jamie about attacking Ned and then wondering why he didn't just kill Ned off. But by the end of their conversation, told Jamie to take a certain amount of his men and head on. They're going to attack Catelyn Stark's like homeland, where her parents are from, where she's from, to send a message because none of them actually know that Tyrion has escaped yet. So to send the message to free that Lannister. Yeah, we didn't get too much with Tywin, but how did you feel about first impressions of him as a character, Tyler?
Well, I like Charles Dance as an actor, so that's pretty cool that he's going to be, I guess, maybe a mainstay in the cast, depending on, you never really know with Game of Thrones. But, yeah, I mean, he seems like a very stern, almost snobby, pretentious kind of character. Obviously, he's scolding Jamie for the most part of his scenes that he did have in the episode. So I don't have like too big of a gauge on him as a character, but I feel like he's going to be a difficult character down the road for somebody. Clearly, he wants to just kill people. That seems to be his thing. So we'll see. I feel like he's going to have influence on killing at least a couple people in the show at some point.
So how were you feeling about Tywin?
I thought he was okay. Anybody who scolds one of the incest twins is okay in my book. So, and he seemed like a skilled, skinner of animals. So maybe he'll have some use and some purpose further on in the series. It seems like he does because you said the famed whatever his name was, and
I feel like
I don't know what that is. So
we've heard his name dropped several times this season, whether it be from Tyrion talking about my Lord Father Tywin, or the last episode talking about how rich he is, and does he really hold?
Just like we've seen the little Stark all these times, little Rick
Well,
or
this
whatever.
person they actually care about. I feel like they haven't name dropped Rickon literally at all, even in the one appearance.
I still do not believe that he is a character in this show. I think you made him up. You claim he was in that first episode.
Tywin, they just talked and talked about it until finally he shows up out in the battle, out on this like battlefield, because clearly he's upset and taking to the streets to go and free Tyrion. Then, were you all shocked? We talked about it a little bit during the episode that Cersei just pretty much straight up admitted, saying, "Thank God, none of my kids are robbers."
Yeah.
Well,
I
Ned
guess she
already
just
knew
figured
it,
was
so
whatever.
I mean, really, it doesn't matter, or at least she doesn't think it matters. So
That's what I mean. It seems like it
like,
didn't matter. Based on the end of the episode, she just tore up the
not like
letter.
Ned had a little recording device to be like, "Hey guys."
So Ned did confront Cersei as kind of a courtesy to tell her, "Look, I know what John Aaron knew, and when Robert gets back, I'm going to tell him he won't be pleased, and I would like for you and your children to leave so that you don't get killed by Robert." But did you feel that was the right thing for Ned to do, or do you wish he had just not told Cersei that he knew that information at all?
I think he
I
shouldn't
wish
have
he had
told her.
just killed her.
Well, same thing. I was saying, it's like I don't think he should have
Kill
told
the
her.
incest twins. Kill Joffrey. Kill Sam.
Kill him, please.
Sam, what's Sam have to do with this?
Too honorable for that, Alyssa. He's too honorable to just kill her in cold blood. In that, she did tell him, "Well, what about my wrath, Lord Stark?" Pretty much being like, "Yo, thanks for the heads up, Ned. Now I'm gonna show you what I'm all about."
Basically.
So that was an interesting scene. Obviously, like you said, we got both the series and the episode name drops from Cersei. Then up at the wall, we saw Benjen Stark's horse return without anyone riding on him. But we didn't really go any further into that, just kind of presuming.
We found a hand.
Is he
Maybe that
dead?
was
And
his
then, as
hand,
you
yeah.
said, good old Ghost. I was like, I'm blanking.
I know
Good
a
old-
name and you don't know.
I know. Good old Ghost brought back a hand from the woods as John and Sam were like taking their oath for the night's watch. How did you feel about everything that happened up at the wall this time round, Alyssa?
As usual, I was pretty bored by it. I don't like the wall. I don't like Sam at all.
Come on.
I thought the little bleeding, crying blood thing tree was okay. I liked Wolf finding. He seemed very happy to finally like be able to romp and run around.
This is where we're from. This is where my kind is from out here.
Yeah, but I like the elevator. I still want to see Ghost in the elevator. I hope that comes at some point. And yeah, I can't wait for Sam to die.
Have you warmed to John at all, or because we know you haven't warmed to Sam?
Clearly,
I like that he had a second face today, a facial expression. So
he got very butthurt when they called out Stewart for his assignment.
Yeah, so I guess I wouldn't say I've warmed on him, but I haven't cooled more on him.
How about you, Tyler? How'd you feel about everything that happened up at the wall?
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I mean, it wasn't anything too crazy, like awesome or anything. But I'm liking the developments between John and Samwell. I mean, I like Samwell, so I'm okay with him sticking around. It'll be intriguing to see where we go with the hand that Ghost found. Maybe it could be his uncle. It could be John's uncle. It could be someone else, or maybe John's uncle is alive, but he's just missing a hand. I mean, the options are there's a couple options at least. So we'll I guess maybe we'll see next episode. Maybe we'll get a White Walker or two.
How do you all feel about little Asha now that we got some stuff? She's the female wildling chilling in
Oh.
Winterfell right now.
She's clowning on Theon Greyjoy.
She was okay. I liked her.
How do you feel about Theon, Alyssa? Since he's been getting a little bit more to do as well the last couple episodes, or at least having more
Yeah.
scenes or talking.
Yeah, I don't really like him very much. I find that I don't like many people in this show, which I
That's
guess
fair.
I think bodes well for me because I'm like, yeah, they died, so like
Outside of
what's gonna happen?
Cersei and Sansa, you do seem to favor the females a little bit more. They seem to be more tolerable for you, other than those two who
Yeah, I
are
guess
not
so.
tolerable at all.
Well, I don't like that one, the one with the little milk boy.
Oh God!
Oh,
The
yeah.
I forget
sister.
the
I don't like
voice.
her.
Milk Boy.
Milk boy. I'm glad we knew immediately who the one with the milk boy. How do you feel about our new little wildling woman, Tyler?
Oh, I mean, she's decent. I mean, I thought it was humorous when she was just clowning on Theon Greyjoy. It seems like she's going to be like at least a significant supporting character, at least in that area of the story. Especially, I was surprised they kept her alive in general. And then now that she's like an integral part to a storyline, it seems.
Across the Narrow Sea, we saw Daenerys first trying to convince Khal Drogo that there is a world across the Narrow Sea, that the world does not actually stop at the salt water. But in doing that, we also saw this market, and she's just kind of chilling. Jorah gets his served papers brought to for spying on Daenerys. He was pardoned from the spider, aka Varys. And then we see Robert's plan in action as a wine seller figures out that this is his target and tries to poison Daenerys. But Jorah, after getting said pardon, has a bit of a change of heart, doesn't actually want to see Daenerys die, and thus Rich comes in to stop the plan to kill her. All of this, Khal Drogo is feeling highly impassioned now that the king of the Seven Kingdoms has tried to kill his queen. He gets pissed and decides, fine, you know what? I do want to go and kill those people. Let's get on those wooden horses and ride across the salt water and burn down their iron castles, and I will sit on that throne and give it to my unborn son, all before dragging the man naked down the street until he just dies. Brutal ways of the Dothraki. How did you feel about Daenerys and Khal Drogo and all of that fun jazz, Alyssa?
I thought it was better than kind of the Dothraki stuff's been the last few episodes. Well, other than Viserys last. I like Jorah. Jorah,
Yeah,
say
Jorah.
I like him. I've kind of always liked him, even though he was sort of the spy. But I like him more now, I guess. Now that he's been served. So I
Basically.
liked that whole scene. It was kind of obvious what was going on, but she seemed very confused by it. But I want those dragons to come out. I want them to hatch. I
Priorities.
want them. But now they're going across the Narrow Sea. They can finally get across the Narrow Sea. So
Tyler, how did you feel about Daenerys and Khal Drogo, Jorah, all that?
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's slowly getting better. Their storylines weren't one of my favorites early on, but it is becoming at least more interesting with the developments between Khal Drogo and, of course, Daenerys. Seems becoming like I kind of predicted that. I feel like she would become a much better character now that Viserys isn't kind of dragging her down. You know, fortunately, he's no longer with us, so we don't have to worry about him being an influence anymore. Jorah Mormont is a pretty decent character. I think that he's going to continue probably being a better character now that he kind of, I guess, is at least trying to be a nicer, good person. I mean, you never know in Game of Thrones. I was surprised also that Daenerys wasn't understanding the tension in that scene. It seemed like she was just very unaware of the situation that she potentially, the potential danger she was in. At
she
least
just
it
wanted to
seems like
drink wine while pregnant.
that's the other thing. I was like, all right, I guess that's
Horses,
cool in Game of
hearts,
Thrones,
wine,
Riding horses.
like Alyssa said, I mean, the dragons are, I am curious to see when they actually do hatch.
Warmed either of you at all to Khal Drogo, or he's kind of just stayed the same?
because
favorite
like I
thing.
like Jason Momoa, but like I don't know about this character at all. He's
Well,
out
it's
here
easy
talking
for
about
me.
like
I'm apathetic to Jason Momoa, and I'm apathetic to Khal Drogo.
So he's just kind of there, right?
it's tough because it's like their relationship started on rocky ground. Like I guess they've kind of found like a common ground, even if it wasn't the best circumstances. And now he's talking about like raping all their women and taking all
And
their
she's like,
kids.
yes. And he's
Yeah,
like,
I'm in.
okay.
Then back on over in the mainland, we saw that Robert Baratheon got too drunk and tried to fight a large boar, and I guess stalemate because he killed the boar too, but the boar killed him. We did hear that the Lannister boy, Varys, seemed to be very concerned, hoping that that boy did not blame himself. But in all of that, Robert did name Ned the regent to the throne until Joffrey came of age. An unfortunately private scenario. It was just the two of them in that room. It did have Robert's signature and seal on it, but I don't know. I feel like maybe there should have been a witness, someone else, like the knight himself, or someone maybe.
What
That seems to
is of
be
age in this land anyway? I mean, Daenerys is like 14, right? Or supposed to be
Yeah,
14. So, like, yeah, Joffrey's probably pretty close to being of
I
age
don't
in
think it
this
would take long.
world.
I think he's pretty close. I think of what you would hope. I think around
I
maybe
feel
15 is when you're good to
yeah, I
go.
guess that's acceptable. I feel like that's kind of one of
When you're
Ned's
good to go.
problems is the fact that like one of Ned's problems seems to be the fact that he keeps doing all these things on the down low with like no witnesses, and that seems to be kind of becoming like a crutch for him. Between this scene and Cersei's scene where he's revealing everything and she just admits it out in the open, but there's no one else around. Like, get a
Yeah,
witness or something, man.
he gets that name. As we talked about, Renly runs up to him and is like, "Yo, so if the king dies, as soon as he dies, Cersei is not going to care about any of this, and she's going to work to like put her son on that throne and get rid of all of us. So I think we should strike tonight, take the king hostage, and do with her what we need to make sure that she's not able to put her son on the throne." But Ned, in his honor, says, "Well, we have to get Stannis, your older brother, over here from Dragonstone because he's now the rightful heir because there are no actual children." And Renly's like, hold up, bro. No, I think you misunderstood. I am going to be sitting on that throne." And
Yeah, just bring in some other guy that just to be the
uh,
king.
I'm not really down with putting you on the throne, Renly, because you're not actually next in line. And so he calls upon Littlefinger to bring in these soldiers. Littlefinger advises him in saying, if you bring Stannis in here, he is going to start a war with the Lannisters. You should be the regent. Let Joffrey come up and succeed to the throne. And if Joffrey is terrible, then we'll go ahead and get rid of both him and Stannis and put Renly on the throne. So Renly's back on the throne under Littlefinger. But once again, Ned is like, no, we can't do that. Joffrey has literally no claim to the throne. Stannis is the only person who has any right to sit on that throne, and that is what I am going to do. Thus, Littlefinger is like, well, then I'm going to go ahead and convince you that I've gotten these golden cloaks for you all the way up until we get into that throne room. See Joffrey sitting there, see Cersei sitting there. They read out Robert's dying wishes, and Cersei just rips them up and throws them on the ground.
And I thought it was gonna be like a mail-in ballot kind of situation. Like you thought you were gonna win, and I got the mail-in ballot. And
Yes.
you just straight up throw it up in front of his face, and like it don't matter.
Cersei did what Trump wished he could do, and she just said, "Hell nah, we ain't accepting this crap." So when she did that, Ned, thinking he had those 1,000 golden cloaks behind him, was like, "Okay, that's it." Then the gold cloaks turned on him, started killing his men, and Littlefinger ran up and put the knife to his throat. The same dagger, mind you, that was used in an attempt to kill Bran as well. And he says, "I warned you not to trust me."
Yep.
Alyssa, how did you feel about everything that went down with Ned, with Littlefinger, with Renly, with Cersei, all of them?
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, Ned's kind of, he's just like Tyler was saying, he's too nice. He's like too
Yeah.
naive in thinking that everybody's actually going to be following the rules that they should be following. And so that's kind of frustrating with his character right now. But Cersei, I just, you're an incest twin. I don't like you. And so Joffrey, God, I hate Joffrey so much. Like, I have hated that little brat since like the first time we saw him, like looking across like the
Yeah.
courtyard in episode 1. Like,
You knew immediately. Said that kid.
yeah.
I can see it.
I don't know who
Yeah.
he is yet, but I know I don't like him.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not surprised by what happened, I guess, but I'm not like, I don't know. Everything's gonna change, and next episode is gonna be fine. So I don't know.
Tyler, how did you feel about all of that?
I mean, the same, because Ned is just too honorable, like, and too nice. I mean, it's clearly biting him in the butt, so to speak. Because I mean, now he's got a dagger to his throat from Littlefinger. At least at the point where he left off, it's not looking too good for him. Obviously, he was double crossed and all that hoopla. He's had so many times, it seems, especially in this episode, to have the upper hand in the situation, but he tries to take the honorable path, and it seems to be screwing him over, potentially for of his life. It seems like, I don't know. I think he should have. I think he kind of underestimated Cersei and Joffrey, and I guess also Littlefinger, and it's a shame, because it's not looking good. It's not looking good for Ned once again. We're so many episodes now where it just looks like he's gonna bite the dust now, especially now that he doesn't have Robert Baratheon around, and they just completely just brush over anything that Robert Baratheon wanted.
So, saying all that, let's get into predictions. Do you have any predictions on Ned, Cersei, Joffrey storyline, Alyssa?
I don't know. Like, I think it's gonna be one that, like, it'll flip around in a number of episodes. I think next episode it's going to be kind of bad, I guess, and not, I don't know. I guess I don't really have a good prediction for it, because there's so many different ways it could go, and like it's just kind of like,
Do you
I don't
think
know.
Joffrey will end season 1 on the throne?
No, I'm hoping Joffrey ends season 1 dead, but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
That's fair.
Yeah, I wasn't making a joke, but I don't know. He's too much of a little brat, and like, I don't know. I don't think so. I hope not. More than, I don't know.
All these kid kings, man.
Tyler, how about you? What are your predictions for Ned, Cersei, Joffrey, that whole storyline around the throne?
I definitely think that Ned is going to be, it's not looking too good for him. I think he'll probably get thrown into some sort of jail or whatever you want to talk about, whatever they have in Game of Thrones when it comes to like apprehending people. But I don't know. I mean, it's not looking too good. It sounds like they want to have, at least they probably want to kill him because he knows too much, just because he knows that, they're not actually related. And I think they could probably seal off that secret if they get rid of him. And looks like, I guess Tyrion will come back at some point. Maybe Tyrion will maybe come in, swoop, and save the day and be like, I'm actually not captured anymore. And Tywin Lannister wants them all dead. Maybe he'll change his mind. I don't know.
Oh, Daenerys' story seemed a little bit more straightforward from here. She thwarted Rob's first attempt at her life. And I guess we'll see if Varys listens, or if he pulls a Cersei and just doesn't care what Robert's last wish was, not to kill Daenerys.
They just send more assassins along the way.
We'll see, I guess, there, if because Jorah told her that he would never stop. She can go anywhere she wants in the world, and Robert Baratheon will still be trying to kill her. But where are you seeing the Dothraki and Daenerys moving forward, Tyler?
I could see them at least continuing to, head into battle, so to speak. I mean, that seems to be like their only plot line going forward. That seems to be like their only
the Dothraki too.
That seems to be like, that's what I mean. That seems to be like their only like character arc motivation, so to speak. They just want to go and roll places and rape and pillage and continue and make more Dothraki. That seems to be it. So I guess they're just going to do that wherever they go.
Right? And Alyssa?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. Um,
Like, what else
I
can they do,
yeah,
honestly?
they're gonna be going on their wooden horses, and there's gonna be dragons soon, I hope.
They will
And
have to amass product, I guess, if they plan to do this, because since they've never gone, they're gonna need ships or some way to get across that. Possibly dragons, we'll see. But they're gonna have to amass some sort of stuff other than their tents and their jerky to get across the sea.
they have the wild grasses as well.
And then we heard more than saw. Any predictions when it comes to like the the lands of like Jamie and out where Tywin is in battle, and what could happen if Jamie or one to Jamie gets to Catelyn Stark's homeland? Catelyn, I guess, has two possible news ravens coming her way about her husband and about her homeland. So, any predictions, I guess, with Catelyn?
I don't know which one she would care about more. Probably Ned. So she probably head that way, especially what she'll do. Here's what she'll do. She's gonna go find Tyrion on the road to wherever he's going. Um, and then she'll like enlist him to help get Joffrey off the throne and help that whole plot line, I think.
Tyler?
Yeah, I kind of agree to an extent with Alyssa's predictions. I would probably have almost the similar ones. Maybe I don't know how Tyrion would feel about Joffrey being on the throne. I don't recall them ever getting along all that much, if I remember correctly. But I guess a lot of the Lannisters don't really tend to get along with each other, just based on the interactions between Lannisters and also the Baratheons, because they seem like quite a dysfunctional family, if I do say so myself.
What about the two girls? Since we did not see them, how do you feel they will react to this whole scenario with their father being
Arya and Sansa.
listed as a usurper to the throne and being taken captive, Tyler?
Well, I think Arya is going to be really pissed because it's her dad, and she's kind of been anti Joffrey from the beginning. And I guess almost in the reverse sense, I would imagine Sansa would be happier because this is almost a good thing for her. And it's a give and take because it's her dad, but also she's kind of with Joffrey, so it's like king, my dad's probably gonna die or get put in jail. So it's like a weird toss up kind of ideal. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think Arya is gonna want to fight. Now that she's had her dance training, she's gonna want to have I can't remember the name of her sword. It was a silly name, but
Needle.
yeah, Needle. She's gonna want to take Needle out and go after Joffrey and the incest twins if she can get her hands on them. And Sansa, I think she's gonna be like I don't think she's going to be in line anymore, honestly, to be queen, because like the whole thing was Joffrey didn't even want her. He was only doing it because of this, like, because he was the hand and like all this stuff. So I
Gonna
don't
give her the
think,
cold shoulder now.
yeah, I don't think Joffrey's going to want anything to do with Sansa, and so she's not going to realize that at first, but then she's going to be pissed, and then she's going to be, if Ned isn't killed in the next episode here, she's going to be mad at him for ruining her chances with Joffrey. So she's just going to be like a little brat, and Joffrey's a little brat, and they'd suck, and Arya's going to come in and do some cool stuff with a sword.
Then finally, up at the wall, any predictions? I guess really the only lead we have there is that hand. Any predictions dealing with that hand that Ghost brought on in, Alyssa?
I think it has something to do with the uncle, and I'm hoping that Sam goes to investigate and doesn't come back.
All right,
Jesus
Tyler.
Christ. Well, at least I guess to piggyback off of that, I mean, I could definitely see the hand being something, involved with something to do with John's uncle. I hope that Samwell lives just because I don't want him to die. So whatever's out there, whether it be the White Walkers or some sort of other creature, whether, whatever they may be in that area. But I would like to see John and Samwell friendship and all that jazz flourish throughout the series, I guess you could say, as long as possible.
So we will go ahead and just cap off with our favorite and least favorite characters. You could do kind of a from this episode particular and then full on. So Alyssa, we'll start with you.
Well, my least favorites are Joffrey and the incest twin, Cersei.
Cersei.
Cersei. Yeah, Joffrey, he didn't really do much in this episode, but God, I hate him. Like,
As
I
I said,
just,
even just the way he sat on that throne.
I know, it's like, I was like,
look at him.
like, ugh. Yeah, so definitely my least favorite. And favorite, I don't, for this episode, I guess Jorah.
Oh, Jorah.
Yeah, I guess he'd probably be my favorite, but Daenerys was okay until she was like really happy about Khal Drogo like raping people, and it was like, I guess okay.
Bit much, yeah.
Like I said, I still like Littlefinger, even though I shouldn't.
What?
But he wasn't my top in the episode, but he was higher than most of the other characters. Ned was just too stupid in this one, too naive. Like, I like him as a character, but not in this episode because he just made so many dumb decisions.
And then Arya obviously is your top overall.
Obviously.
Nice.
And Cersei and Joffrey are pretty solidly down there for overall.
Yeah, I mean Viserys, he's dead, but he's still down there too.
He's gonna linger till the end of the season at least. It's like an overall season 1 least favorite character.
Well, maybe, I mean, we assume he's dead, but maybe in the next episode we'll just see him walking around with his gold head.
All right, Tyler?
We're just going by this episode solely. I guess my least favorites would probably be Littlefinger, Joffrey, Cersei, and overall, I mean, Viserys was number 1 until he died.
You didn't dislike the boar?
Robert Baratheon was up there in the dislike until he died. So they're both dead. So they have to be taken off the board. As far as characters I liked going off of this episode, even though he kind of has been like an idiot, this last episode or two, I think Ned is still my favorite character. Other than him, I mean, like Alyssa said, Jorah Mormont's, I guess, shown some growth as a character and as a human being in the show. I mean, I like Jon Snow and Samwell. Like, I don't know if they weren't like my favorite or anything.
Is it still like Tyrion, Arya, Ned, your top 3 overall?
I would say so. I'd say it's of the characters we've gotten so far. Yeah, that would be them. I mean, maybe. Well, Braun was kind of cool in last episode, but we don't have any other development.
The wildling was okay in this one for me.
Yeah,
pretty high this episode. All right. Well, that was our reaction in part 1, and then our discussion, predictions, and character discussions all here in part 2. I hope you all enjoyed this. Why don't you go ahead and let them know where they can find you, Alyssa?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Mainely Movies.
And Tyler?
You can find me on YouTube at Tyler Calvert, and Twitter and Instagram at It's Tyler Calvert.
Perfect. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our reactions as we work through all 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.